What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. I've got a very special episode for you today because the old gears are turning in the head, and I don't know if my wife's going to like it yet or not, but I had a crazy idea. It is Memorial Day weekend. Probably not while you're watching this, but certainly while I'm filming it. It's Friday afternoon, and usually my wife gets home at a decent time on Friday, so I was thinking, with everything going on, we've canceled all of our summer plans. You probably have too. The beaches in Florida are open now. What if we just pack the car up, hit the road, and drive south? Is that crazy? No planning, just do it. I don't know. I kind of like this plan. Let's see what the wife thinks. So if we're going to do this, let's take a look and see what our navigation thinks is going to happen. Let's check it out. All right. So I've already done some pre-checking here, but basically we would need to stop in Louisville, Nashville, Birmingham, Greenville, and then we could be there. Now, some of this is not an optimal route. Like Louisville will work out great. Nashville, that's a V3 charger, so I'm excited to try that. But if we could, by the time she gets home, it'll be too late to do this whole thing. So maybe we can make it down into the Athens area tonight. And then it's only about you're more than halfway down there. It says 769 miles, 13 hours and 21 minutes. So that's a haul, but that's with charging. It's about an 11-hour drive without charging. I think we should do it. Make it to Athens tonight. And if not, maybe just south of Nashville, worst case. But that'd be a longer drive in the morning. So maybe we've got it in us to make it to Athens. Yeah, and then we could stop right here in Athens at the Supercharger, Birmingham Supercharger, and Greenville Supercharger. I think this can work. Yeah. One of the things I really like about this car is you can just plug in a destination and go. You can, with your existing charge, everything, just go. It'll calculate everything for you. There's nowadays plenty of superchargers to get basically anywhere you want to go. So that's pretty nice. Should we do it? I think we should. It really depends on when Heather gets home, but maybe we should call her. Let's call her and find out if she wants to do this. Otherwise, I'm going to start packing. Why not? Let's just load up the car. Let's do this. We can do this together. Let's find out what kind of efficiency this car gets. Gets all the claims for all this efficiency. Let's put it to the test. This is like some real world stuff going on here. So I think this would be a great test. Find out what kind of range we're getting. I've seen videos of the performance model doing some range testing or some efficiency testing. And that vehicle was getting something like 350 watt hour per mile. So I wonder what the long range all-wheel drive gets. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm probably not patient enough to set the cruise at 75 like the video that I saw. So I wonder what the efficiency would look like with how we drive. Let's do it. Let's just do it. You only live once. Let's do it. Let's go have a good weekend. Be on the beach tomorrow. How awesome would that be? Let's make it happen. All right, so we stopped on the south side of Indy to top off because somebody forgot some water so they could take their medicine. Not pointing any fingers. Anyways, so the plan is we are going to drive to Pensacola, but tonight, since we got such a late start, we're only going to go to Athens, Alabama. So basically right over the border into Alabama. Then in the morning, we should have a 5-hour drive into Florida. So not too bad. Right now, it says, let's take a look. All right, so let's see here. The route it's taking us is through Louisville, which will be our first official stop. And then Nashville. So only 2 stops at Superchargers for a little bit to get to Athens. We should arrive at 20%. There is a Supercharger like right around the block from where our hotel is, so that'll be convenient. All the way down here. And then again in the morning we will take the route all the way to Florida. So right now it says we should arrive at about 29%. It's been jumping around a lot, so we'll see how well we do getting there. We're doing about 282 watt hour per mile, so we'll see if that stays true or not. So let's see what happens. Alright, so looks like we arrived at the predicted 26%. We've got, let's see here, we gotta make it to Nashville. It says 47% battery, more than what we have, so we'll charge here for an estimated 30 minutes. Got about 4.5 hours left to go on the trip to make it to Athens. We did it in 293 watt hour per mile average so far since home, 146 miles, so let's do it. Sign. What? There we go. All right. Let's see how we do here. Ramping up nicely. Oh, 132. So we've made it to Louisville. Next stop will be Nashville for a quick charge there, and then another 2 hours south of there we will be at the hotel for the night. So it looks like about 2:30 in the morning before we get there, so we'll see if we can make it. Looks like it's going to give us about a 10% buffer, so I'll have to keep an eye on the speed, make sure that we don't go too fast, but otherwise we will be in Nashville about 12:30 or so. So we'll see how it goes. pretty unrestful evening last night. If you've ever traveled with little kids, you know exactly what I mean, but it's about 7 in the morning and we're going to finish this trip. So it looks like about 7.5 hours to go, 423 miles. We've got 71%. It says we're going to stop at Athens for 50 minutes and a 20-minute stop in Greenville. So I think what we're going to do actually is take a shorter stop up here, and we're going to top off in Birmingham and split that trip for charging purposes. That should be faster. And then of course we'll hit this charger down here as well. So we'll see how we do. So far we've been sitting at about 309 at this point watt hours per mile, and that was 79 miles an hour most of the way. It did rain on the last stint, so about 20 or 25 miles, so that didn't help at all, but not too bad. Hoping to get a little bit better today with it being a little bit nicer out. So we'll see how it goes. Let's get packed up and hit the road. All right, so made it 34%, 50 miles, but let's see here. We are going to actually change this up and stop here instead. So we will mess with that in a minute. Let's get charging. That'll work.
Who's going that way?
What do you see, bud?
I see that way. Let's go this way. It's a thing to inverse. Let's go.
All right, so let's take a look here. So again, it wants us to charge up basically to 100% and then make it all the way to Greenville. However, we are going to make it halfway and stop there rather than stay here too long. So let's see how much charge we need to make it here. Yeah, like five more minutes or so and we could make it. So we would make it at 16%. We could leave right now to make it to the next Supercharger. It's interesting, we probably could have almost made it. On that last stint, we were doing a very quick pace with a group of people, so we ended at about 340 watt hour per mile. So we were booking it and we made up a lot of time by doing so. So anyways, we're going to wrap this up and hit the next leg of this adventure. All right, so 73%, we'll arrive at 33. We'll up extra energy with speed, get there. Here we go. All right, made it at 31%, did 328 watt hour per mile. It was pretty fast moving out there. The farther south you go, the faster people drive. So should be here for about 20 minutes and then make it to Greenville, Alabama for our last stop, which we will stay for a longer period of time. So that way we've got a nice charge as we head into Florida.
Daddy?
1 second, bud. Okay. Just a second.
Okay, Daddy. We can do this.
All right, so 27% to next Supercharger stops is 20 minutes, but again, we're gonna stay for a little bit longer and should be good. All right, so for the first time on this trip, we got to a supercharging station and all the stations are full. So that's kind of disappointing. Plus, if they're all full, that means everybody's charging at half the speed, so it'll take that much longer. It's one of the really annoying things about supercharging, but very infrequent to happen. However, this is only a 6-stall station. We are down here in Greenville, Alabama. So we are so close. Looks like the computer only wants to charge 15 minutes, but we're going to need to charge for a while. I believe we have a destination charger at our hotel, which is awesome. One connector, 16 kilowatt hour, but with only one, I'm sure there will be some demand for it. So not too bad. Should have not too long ago, but you can see all the stations are full. So we'll get it plugged in and see what kind of speeds we get with all these cars charging and go from there. All right, so let's see how bad this charging is, sharing. Yeah, not very good at all. There we go. It just reset. Got up to 66, so that's okay. It's not very good, but that'll get us going. All right, so there we go. 80% max charge for a busy station. Looks like we should arrive at 33%, 123 miles to go, a couple hours. We will see how we do. All right, well, we made it. Last leg, 298 watt hour per mile, which is great. It was definitely a lot slower speed. Our total trip, 771 miles, 315 watt hour per mile, which is really not that bad. We were definitely doing north of 80 for most of that trip, so car did great. And the best news, they have the chargers. I was really worried about this. That was a awesome trip. We've been very nervous about taking our first road trip in the car for a number of reasons, mostly because of the little kids back here. And but they did great, and I wish we would have planned a little bit better. This was very impromptu, but you know, we left a little bit later than we had hoped, so we didn't quite make it to our goal last night. So today was a much longer drive than we had planned, but nonetheless, only one snafu with the supercharging being line, our last stop there. So that took longer than planned, but other than that, things were smooth. The car did great. It was very comfortable. It's funny, my wife, she gets very uncomfortable in most cars for long periods of time, and she was just mentioning over the last 20 miles how it was funny that she felt like the seats in this car were so much more comfortable than what she's used to. So another shout out to the comfort of the seats in the car. Really hope you enjoyed this video. This was a great experiment for us to really understand, you know, real world, what's the range going to look like, what kind of power is this thing going to take to get down the road, if you're not trying to be as efficient as possible by doing the speed limit. So I think this was a great representation of that. We're now in Florida, 700 plus miles later, and we are now in weekend vacation mode. So thanks for joining us today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We'll try to do part 2 on the way home. Really appreciate you stopping by. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one.